every human on this planet can choose whether they want to live an ordinary life or an extraordinary life.
For sure.
And it takes less amount of energy to think big about yourself than to worry about all the small stuff.
Welcome to the Extraordinary Podcast. I'm your host, Forbes, Shannon. With me, as always, my co-host,
Christine Butler.
And we're really excited for you to see our first guest here today. Christine nominated this guest. He is a world-class speaker, 12x successful entrepreneur, Wall Street Journal best-selling author, and candidly, he's our best friend, Aaron Bear. Thanks for being here.
First of all, Forbes, why didn't you nominate me?
Honestly, because you're such a good speaker and I like to be the star of the show. So when you're on here, I'm like second fiddle.
That's why we're going to keep you in the studio.
Yeah, right. But actually, that's a great point. That's a great place to start. You're on the road a ton, dude. Road warrior with your speaking. Next week, you got like 6 gigs lined up. You booked like just 12 this week. What do you talk about and why do you like speaking so much? Why is that extraordinary to you?
Yeah, well, when you know, as everybody in the Extraordinary Network, we're going to identify the purpose of their life and the passions that get them out of bed every morning. And just in my life, you know, the success that I've had in any of my endeavors has been the fact that I've been in front of people and sharing a message that helps them think bigger about themselves. It's why exponential theory was, you know, so much energy was the power of thinking big. And
yeah. Well, what does thinking bigger about yourself, mean to our audience? Like, how could you summarize that quickly?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, every human on this planet can choose whether they want to live an ordinary life or an extraordinary life.
For sure.
And it takes less amount of energy to think big about yourself than to worry about all the small stuff.
Well, hold on. Explain that. It takes less energy to think bigger than to worry about small stuff?
Forbes, you've been my mentee for 10 years.
I'm still trying to learn it, bro.
Well, when you find your purpose and you can think bigger about something, and that's our goal at Extraordinary, is to help people learn to speak, to coach, to facilitate, and just to connect as mentors to others and peer-to-peer learning.
Yeah.
At a level that they become extraordinary. Because when you start to help people surface, you know, kind of their calling, it's the awareness of being aware of awareness, is to understand, like, how do I see myself in this world?
Okay.
How do I see my impact on the world? And when I'm on stage speaking, and I think it's why I get offered to go to so many speaking gigs and referred through other people, is because I am connected in that moment. I am in flow. I am not thinking about being anywhere else. And my intention is to help every single person in that audience and connect with everyone to think bigger. And I think they feel that energy because I'm passionate about the idea of thinking bigger. As you know, I've facilitated for, you know, the last 15 years around the world. It's helped me travel to 103 countries and all 50 states. And it's enabled some incredible opportunities for me to learn and grow myself. But I've also been in rooms with, you know, people like Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk. And when you get an experience of these people, you start to understand they think differently and they think bigger.
Yeah.
And what everyone is attempting to do around them that are really the go-getters are to say, how can I think like that? And so I myself have adopted that, and I say crazy things in front of people, and I've pushed both of you to think crazy things about yourselves.
That's why we love you. You're a little crazy.
Because the future is just where you put your energy. And as we know, it's also just we're all vibrations and we're all rhythm and we're all polarities. And these things, I think, as I've kind of explored in my new book, which is called It's Really Not That Serious, you know, how to play the extraordinary game of leadership.
Yeah.
The idea is to help people really see their full potential by not letting the rhythm of life, which has its ebbs and flows, come and go. You know, you just realize is like, what was I there to observe that thought or that emotion or that story or that experience? Because everything is being presented in a way that can learn and grow from. And if you treat it that way, then your life's just, it's just one box of chocolates.
Extraordinary.
You never, yeah, and it's extraordinary. Great point.
One thing that you always taught me was that nothing was ever good or bad, and that it's a choice. How do you make that choice in the moment?
Yeah, no, I think it's the pause. I think it's like being patient is everything happens fast when you're patient I think too often do we want to solve problems in the moment.
Yeah.
Where sometimes it's better to just sit in it.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
What are some of the downfalls of trying to solve a problem in the moment that you've seen with these leaders you work with?
Well, we talk about it in this way is that everybody has a different perspective in life.
Okay.
And, all three of us have very different lived experiences.
Mm-hmm.
We all have different traumas. We all have different pleasure and pain. And,
Yeah.
the reality is we're like, if you think of it like is we're a universe colliding with each other, meaning like we hold all this stardust inside that we've defined for different reasons. But when I collide, it's a negotiation to say, do you understand me or do I understand you? And us three in particular have grown to understand each other enough that we could be in a room, in a podcast room together,
Right.
Yeah.
having this conversation.
Well, and I think that why we know each other so well is because of those ebbs and flows, specifically the ebbs, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think that's where, I don't love each of you for your perfections.
Perfect.
I love it for your flaws and the fact that, we get real in the world.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, what we want is people around us that push us outside of our, understanding that we all have strengths and weaknesses, but how do we actually learn and grow from the people around us? And how do we actually create an environment where the 5 closest people around us, want good for us?
Yeah.
So is that something you see with these leaders that either you facilitate with or, you speak to when you're doing your book signings after these conferences and stuff? Do you find that leaders are trying to cover up their flaws?
Oh, 100%. I think that's communication, and authenticity. And we know that authenticity has a vibrational level that's much higher than even joy.
Yeah.
So when we hear someone speaking authentically, from their heart, and wanting to connect people with good intention, we connect with that because we want that. All we are as human beings is we want to be connected. So when I say just be, it's about being connected. And sometimes it's like just being there and feeling that. And emotions are to come and go. They're not to hold. Now we hold them in our body somatically, meaning like we literally hold emotions into our body. I can tell you when my lower back pain happens is because I'm holding emotions. And I haven't had back pain for many, many years.
Oh,
too,
okay.
so.
We stock up on the Tiger Balm. So
So that's interesting, Aaron, because you said communication, right? Like it's kind of this lost art that you help a lot of companies figure out. It seems like such a simple, easy thing, but you do these you call them sprints where you go in and you help a company understand that communication is a major breakdown. Like, can you explain what the problem is and how you solve it?
So in every company, communications is the number one issue.
Okay.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's not always what's just said; it's what's unsaid. It's also it's also
the elephant, right?
It's the elephant in the room.
Okay.
It's the fact that in a meeting, in an hour-long meeting, very few people are really there.
How long do you think they're there in an hour-long meeting?
I'm not, I don't know. And I don't want to guess that. Okay. I would say that.
How long do you think I'm there in an hour?
Yeah, you're there 50% of the time. So, like if I can speak to that. In general, I think you're more attentive than the average person. So if that tells you anything, now you know. But I think when we're in meetings, and we're elsewhere thinking is like, why are we even having that meeting? It could have been an email.
Right.
Tell me about it.
And so communication is, how do we get everybody on the board so they have a shared vision of the company? And how do they understand that they're the most important person in the company, or they believe they're the most important person in the company? And then they believe every other person is the most important. That underlying respect will eliminate most of your meetings and will give you a communication mechanism for leadership to really get things done because you respect the people, you give them the authority. They know the best way to do the job for themselves. We should be more concerned with how we create outcomes than we should be how it gets done. Unfortunately, the idea of management itself, I think, should be dead.
Okay.
Because with AI, there's no longer you need to manage people. You should have an AI thought partner that helps you kind of figure out things to manage self. Leadership should lead, meaning they should create a vision and they should remove obstacles. And so in the companies that I come into, I talk about how we create a coaching culture, peer-to-peer, how you can create buddies, how you can create mentorship, how you can facilitate every meeting, and then how you literally speak to create vision, so that everyone understands and you raise the vibrational frequency of the company. And when you do that, your outcomes automatically raise. And we can do that in a 6-week sprint.
So, something that you used to do at the company agency you used to run was you had like a rule that like as soon as people hit their quota, they could go home. Like, what was that?
Yeah. So, as a sales leader, this is an interesting thing about human behavior that, during the 6-week sprints, I have a lot of these stories and share with people so they don't make the same mistakes. But, if say there was a big event in town, like, we live in Phoenix and we have the Phoenix Open.
Phoenix Open, right?
Yeah,
Waste management.
So we have the Phoenix Open. And so every time the Phoenix Open came around, you saw people's true human nature. I would always say is if you do 3 great things, you can stand up in front of our group. And we had 35 salespeople work for my company at that time. And I said, if you do 3 great things, you can stand up, share with people, and then take the rest of the day off. And generally that meant closing sales, or it meant something big that they were worthy to say. And I literally said, whoever says them first, then you have to up them. What happened in that day is when the Phoenix Open is by noon, literally almost every salesperson was out the door and they literally created extraordinary results. And that story in itself is like, okay, how do I have the Phoenix Open in town every day?
Yeah.
Which we ended up doing, because every Friday, I don't think sales are really good on Friday because, your salespeople you're calling are checked out. So we would have lunch and then we would literally break for the day. But we created a culture that was about inclusiveness of, how we share this vision to solve this bigger problem. And that's where if we do a 6-week sprint, we create that culture through coaching, through buddies, through speaking, and we do it all through communication, which if you have your top 3% of your employees go through an extraordinary sprint, they control the communication of the whole organization. And that means your high potentials, your emerging leaders, the top 20, and generally it's 20 or less people, we'll put them through this and it'll literally change the culture of the company because all of a sudden clarity, confidence, and curiosity will be instilled so that they can communicate at a higher frequency, a higher level. So your results will automatically go up because you'll gain trust, you'll gain perspective, and you'll gain empathy. That for internally, and it's like Southwest Airlines had this rule where our employees are number one. And for a long time, everybody's like, well, no, customers are number one. But what Southwest figured out is if our employees are taken care of, the customers are taken care of.
Yeah.
Right.
Makes sense.
Well, that kind of goes to, and Christine, maybe you want to kind of hand this baton off, but something that we talk about a lot at Extraordinary is the humanness of it, right? Like people are not just cogs in a wheel. We have to nurture the humanness in these organizations. So as it relates to these, the culture, right? How important is humanness going to be in the age where new tools have come out like AI that are going to change everything?
Yeah, I mean the reality of AI that we're starting to see, and obviously I've built some AI companies. I've been successful. I failed. Really, it is a defining moment in our history that AI is going to take over many of the tasks that aren't necessarily human.
Yeah,
and the only differentiator in the future will be humanness, will to be human. So be more human. And the idea of that is creativity, imagination, curiosity, narrative, building a story. There is a missing component that AI doesn't have: the randomness, the lived experience, the nature. It has a way to be predictive and repetitive patterns better than we ever will be. It'll be better than synthesized. So having an AI as a thought partner or as an assistant is an incredible thing to do as a human being.
Yeah.
With that, it's leaning in to be more human. Extraordinary leadership or extraordinary sales or operations or whatever part of the company it is led by communications of drawing out people to be more human. It's not to use technology more. is to use it more efficiently so it literally evaporates into the background so that when we're in meetings, they're meaningful, they're purpose driven, they can be emotional. It's like those are the things that AI is never going to help us kind of uncover.
Right.
And that's the beauty of being human is I think with AI penetrating every corner of this universe that we live in, at least Earth,
Yeah.
we're going to see humans forced to be more human. And it's going to force people to get off of social media to understand that, like, that's not the real world. They're going to force people not to have AI dysmorphia because of the validation that AI gives you.
Yeah.
It's the fact that have AI help you ask questions to be more human. Have AI to help you think about the habits you need to be more mental health. When you do that, then we start to see ordinary people have the time, energy, and effort to be extraordinary.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something that, Christine, you said it really well, because, we're all writers.
Yeah.
Christine and I have been ghost writers for like the last 10 years. We've written together 17 books now. When ChatGPT came out, and Christine pointed it out, she's like, it's too good.
Yeah.
Like you can tell.
There's no soul in it.
Yeah.
You can't, AI can never write a Jane Austen novel. I mean, like, the human is behind the words. I have this belief that whatever emotion I am feeling, it gets put into my work. If I have a bad day and I write that day, the work is going to be a little moody. It's going to be a little chaotic, right? But it's human nonetheless. And whoever's reading it, I have this belief that they feel what I wrote. AI cannot do that.
Well, that's a great point. And I'll ask you, Aaron, as it comes to a culture, your employees' moods, like how important is that to the bottom line and the outcomes?
Well, I mean, I have a simple thing that I'll give a little, this is something to test out in your company. Go out and just give gratitude to 3 people and share that with your team as to give gratitude to 3 people, and they'll go out and give credit. And I say, think how that makes you feel when you give that. Think how it make them feel. And then come back and communicate that. And what happens is if you do that to several people in a company, in that day, I've seen it where companies have their highest performing day.
Do you think that there's greater returns on giving gratitude or receiving gratitude?
Giving 100%.
Why?
Why?
Ooh.
Jinx.
Yeah.
I'll buy you a Coke.
The bottom line as human beings is we are creators and we're not consumers. And I think right now the world has sold us to consume. Like it's always more and more and more and more. The less part of this is when we give ourselves, when we really care about something. Like you think about purpose. Yeah. We're not taking from purpose. We're giving to our purpose.
You can't take purpose, right?
No. I see.
When you're in a relationship, Christine and I are in a relationship. You can't take in a relationship. It's
Right.
about giving in a relationship. Sometimes it's always about self-love first, because that's the overshadow of how do I self-express myself. But once you get to a place where you have love, which you become extraordinary, then it's like to give that away all the time, because you have abundant nature of love, abundant nature of peace, abundant gratitude. And when you do that, you start to create an extraordinary life, one moment by moment. And that's where you really get down to it, is in the communication sprints that I work with. I help people really unlock, their self-love for their work. They all of a sudden understand why they're the most important in their role and why everyone should look to them as an expert. That amount of curiosity, confidence, and clarity enables an organization to shift the culture literally in 6 weeks. And it's such a blessing to be able to discover how I've learned how to do that, because I failed so many times and even thought I was being successful for only a CEO to literally behind the scenes be creating chaos in an organization, knowing that it's not going to serve him well, but his ego wanted to have that. And that's where, when we look at extraordinary organizations, you have to look, is your leader able to even be extraordinary? And that's why we're getting extraordinary leaders on our podcast.
So I had an extraordinary moment this weekend that you guys were both there for. And I'm bringing this up because you just made the connection in my head that it was based in giving gratitude. So I am a beer league hockey superstar, and
Go
you
Blue
guys,
Fats.
you guys brought the boys and my girlfriend Amber was there, and it went to a shootout, and I had the last shot in the shootout to win the shootout. And normally I would be so stressed in that situation, especially because it's the only time someone's actually come to watch me play beer league hockey. You know,
I've been there before.
It's true. It's true. And I literally had an exhale, and I was like, I'm so grateful that they're here. Like, I felt so loved and I felt so at peace that honestly blacked out during that shot before I scored it.
It wasn't you.
Yeah.
It wasn't me.
You were in flow, and
you were real fast.
you looked like a slightly slower McDavid. But
well, you know, the guys after the game, they were like, "You sketched this out because you're skating so fast." I was like, "Yeah, honestly, I looked up and the goalie was just right there."
Mm-hmm.
Like, but it was this moment where, like, it's hard to describe how it feels when you're present. How does that feel? Like, how does that show up in both of you? Like, when you're present in the moment, like, how do you know that you're there?
I'm having fun. I see nothing else. I'm having fun. I'm in flow.
Yeah, I mean, I think it starts with the building block of curiosity about anything, and just understanding that the more you know, your book that you're writing, I Don't Know Shit, is something that we've talked about for a long time. It's like letting go as a leader to understand that you may have lived experiences and you think you know, but it's so much better to empower the people around you to kind of figure it out for themselves and own it for themselves.
Yeah.
And then from there, it's like peace, love, and gratitude, which, you know, goes back to Namaste Republic and things that we've done there. It's like when you have peace with your past and you have love for the moment and gratitude for your future, like things unfold really naturally. And to Christine's point, and she's kind of taken my line, and our future is, my only rule is have fun. You know, at the end of it is, when you're having fun, that's truly coherence with the world. And there's a lot of neuroscience and psychology to back it up. Is you were having fun. You in that moment of gratitude, you were like, this is fun. I'm sharing, you know, honestly, outside of yourself, you know, in the moment. But when you're in flow and you're loving what you do and you have the people and the energy, you had a lot of positive energy. You heard us yelling before you know, we have a video, little Declan and Liam are jumping up and down, and you know, you have this experience that all of a sudden, the moment the world slows down, or it may speed up, but you're in complete control because you're in your inner world. It's no longer looking for something externally. And then the world is like extraordinary, because every ordinary moment, which that was an ordinary beer league night.
Yeah, right.
That you made extraordinary.
And you know why is, yes, it was having fun, but that exhale, to your point about your book, it made me realize it's really not that serious.
It's really not that serious.
Yeah. I'm glad you made it though.
Yeah, that would have been awkward.
What if you just? Yeah. I was just thinking about, you're skating so fast, you just skated right into the goalie.
Oh yeah. No, there was a big sigh of relief after I made it, for sure. Thank God that worked out.
Well, you did this like one kneel thing down with like a Tiger Woods pump and everything. It was.
No one likes the guy.
We'll have that on Instagram. We'll have that on Forbes 500 Instagram for
Forbes
you guys.
500 Instagram. Yeah. You know, that's funny. I got the nickname 500 and 500 from Aaron. Because I didn't know what the Forbes 500 list was until I met him.
I'm like, how do you not know what the Forbes 500 is?
He's like, literally, this is...
Now no one else that you say it to knows what it is.
Yeah, I know. But, you know, it's funny is when I call him all the time, right? You know, and I have this like learned helplessness, but we're working through it. And
he doesn't like me to tell him.
And no, he just calls me now.
And he'll answer the phone, and like if it's an off day, he's like $4.97.
Hey, one day I was really mad at him and called him 7.
But you know, like Aaron, how do you
for people that don't understand? I'm just subtracting the number 500, saying you're less than 500.
I've hit 502 a couple times.
Yeah. No, I'll pump you. I'll pump you up where deserved. But
well, so you know, Aaron, as it goes to communication, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because Aaron and I have a decade of experience between us. Aaron's been my mentor. Aaron, you've had a ton of great mentors. You have figured out how to help people get the most out of themselves. And the reason I bring that up is because, candidly, that you get the most out of me when it's not praise. You know, like Aaron says this all the time. I can tell Forbes, good job, and then he'll just take the day off. So
yeah, that story earlier, I shouldn't have told it in front of you, because now every day is a Phoenix Open for Forbes. But
How do you learn that communication style between people, and how do you foster that?
Oh, well, obviously it's just intuition to kind of how do you bring someone the best out. People train other people how to deal with them.
Oh,
And
explain that. Yeah.
well, I think in the workplace and relationships and friendships, whatever, expectations are good. They do, we talk about zero expectations and like goals in life and those things, but having, a standard of who your 5 closest friends is the most important thing.
Mm.
And what you want to think of is vibratory is like when you're down, you want your friends to kind of bring you up.
Yeah.
The ebbs and flows are the fact of the matter is that life is not perfect for any human being on this planet. As much as we think that there's some people that are just blessed, it's probably because they're really not that serious and they're just having fun. Whether they have money or no money or whatever, there is ignorance in bliss and there is bliss in being wise. And I think part of your future unfolding is to understand that if your intuitive nature that you believe that it's always going to work out, because it always does, then you can take a lot of pressure off yourself and just understand that however you communicate to anybody, it wasn't right or wrong. And honestly, through both of you and still learning and forever learning on it is how to communicate, because our universes aren't the same. Our lived experiences aren't the same. Our thoughts, emotions, our stories, even their own experiences of the common experiences that we have come from different perspectives, where someone could have a good, because they have a filter on the world, they could have a bad experience of something and I could have a good, and sometimes when someone says it's really good, they could put the person that having a bad experience in a worse position. So it's just having grace and patience and peace, love, and gratitude again, because then you can get back to fun quickly. And it's, to me, it's, we've had, lots of fun. We've had arguments, all of us. I think part of it is that we don't always see the world. It's how fast we recover with the loved ones we have.
Yeah.
Sure. And that makes it special.
Yeah. And I think knowing intention, right? Like, us, we all know each other. Our intention is good for each other.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's something that I constantly remind myself of, like in the moment. You say like, don't deal with something in the moment, right? Usually mess it up when you try and fix something in the moment, right? Something that's always helped me that you taught me, Aaron.
Well, that's a belief system right there.
I think the extra second I take, that you've helped me learn is I'm hearing the words and then I'm coloring it with my perspective. And I just have to always remember, what's this person's intent? Like, that's something you always taught me. The first thing we do when we apologize is we say, that wasn't my intention. So we want to be judged by our intentions, but then we judge other people by their words and their action. And that's something that you always taught me. So, like, as it relates to intentionality and extraordinary and curiosity, I'm curious, what are you intentionally going to do that's extraordinary this year? Give us a few things.
Well, I'm going to go change 1 million lives with extraordinary. I mean, it's been my goal for a long time, and we're on that path. We're probably 1% to 2% of that path, but this is an exponential curve, as I wrote in exponential theory. And, I'm going and taking all these speaking gigs, and we're creating this podcast studio, and I've brought my 2 best friends for very different reasons together, to share this story, because we want to capture all the extraordinary leaders in this world. Want to put them on a platform so that when people are in low vibrational, they could get on this, they could join Extraordinary, and they could be part of something that's much bigger than themselves, and, self-fulfilling. Where you put your energy is what you're going to get out of it. And that's where we decided to do this. Candidly, all of us is like, well, we want to hang around extraordinary people.
Yeah.
Both of you write books and write articles and magazine articles and different things, so we can help extraordinary people share their talents more. I can help companies become more extraordinary and all their leaders become more extraordinary. So all of a sudden we put that together and we say, well, how do we leverage all of our strengths? And now we have Extraordinary, this company that's about being more human. We all are very, very efficient with AI, to the point that we know that humanness is going to be the next differentiator.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It was technology for a long time, candidly, if you could use technology better. But right now, I have a CTO at a former company I was at. I can program a website faster than him because I can vibe code it in a day, and then he could spend months on it. And that's where the equalizer is like, with a little bit of intuition and a little bit of effort and energy and fun, you know, anything can be extraordinary. And that's what we're here to create every day. That's the intention.
So then, just like, what do you say to people who may say that things like peace, love, and gratitude are soft? Because they're not getting the full picture of what you just said. Because, like, you explained that peace, love, and gratitude go into being human, and they exponentially increase your output. Like, do you find that there's a lot of leaders that are stuck in that old way of?
Yeah. So, you know, you take Jack Welch, who cut the bottom 10% and was all about numbers and everything. Yeah. He taught us a lesson of what not to do. I'll go back further. Hitler.
For sure.
You know, Hitler didn't have a lot of peace, love, and gratitude.
Yeah.
He was living out an angry childhood, and can't imagine what the man's head was going through the man's head. He was a great leader. And I think we have to look at, like, how do you get people that are leaders and understand there is a leader you can lead through force, or you can, you know, lead through creating love.
Yeah.
And in the reality is, even tough love, which doesn't necessarily mean it's soft.
And that can be tough to receive.
Yeah. And that's where it goes back to is figuring out that you're not attached to what is, that you're willing to grow. And it's also resistance. Is like, you know, no one ever wins reality. That you can't fight reality. It's like fighting gravity.
No one ever wins reality.
Yeah.
What a quote.
Meaning that reality is always going to win.
Right.
So whatever is outside of you, you do control how you think about it, process it, let those emotions go. But also it's the people that are around you that control that too, because you are the culmination of those 5 people. So I am excited to be on this journey with both of you. We're all learning and growing and accelerating. And with all the guests that we'll have on this, the lineup is incredible, what we've already put together.
You guys just wait and see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're going to go help extraordinary companies they've had. We're going to write extraordinary books with extraordinary leaders. And it's just going to be fun because we're all taking our God-given talents to a place, to a higher level, so that we share something that our intention is good for the world and just have fun doing it.
Yeah. Yeah. And think of extraordinary's intention. We want to give back, share their stories, you know?
Great. Well, Aaron, thank you so much for being here. Hopefully you guys learned something that you can apply to business right now. If you want to learn more about how you and your company can be extraordinary, you can head to our website, Join Extraordinary. That's JoinExtraordinary.
Wow.
I ran out of breath there, but joinextraordinary.com. We can't wait to see you next. We got an awesome lineup of guests that we're going to have. We are building the Extraordinary Collective, and we'd love for you to be a part of it. I'm Forbes Shannon.
I'm Christine Butler.
And I'm Aaron Bear.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.